Hi, I'm Debbii Dawson, and you're listening to Main Pod Girl.
Hey, welcome to Main Pod Girl, a podcast made by Popheads for Popheads. Every episode, we'll be diving into all kinds of pop culture topics with some of our favorite artists and music commentators. I'm your host, AJ Marks. And today's guest first got her start on America's Got Talent in 2022, later signing with RCA Records, collaborating with Orville Peck, and touring with Role Model. Though she's yet to release her debut album, she already has several EPs that have gotten her millions of streams and won over the hearts of popheads, myself included, so I just had to have her on the show. Here to talk about her new EP, Where Have All the Good Men Gone, it's Debbii Dawson. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I was just streaming the EP all morning, and before we get into that, I kind of want to start off with what we're listening to in terms of just the music that's hitting our Spotify playlist right now.
Ooh, I've been listening to a lot of city pop lately.
Ooh, okay.
That's been really fun.
Put me on a city pop.
City pop? Okay, so it's like jazz funk from like the 80s played by like Japanese people.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Everything's just played so deliberately. It's very creative. It's just full of good music. You should listen to it.
I have a feeling you're a muso at heart. Is that true?
Yeah, that may be. I love working with new people at collaborators. And then seeing them start like smiling and laughing just with chord choices and stuff, just letting themselves be nerds and stuff. So yes, that sounds accurate.
I love that. I've been loving Secret Language by Ryan Beatty. That kind of feels like it dabbles into muso music, but I feel like he's quite palatable as well. And so he's just coming out with a new album.
Cool.
Bible by Cherry. I'm loving the whole Cherry album. If you haven't heard of her, she's like kind of killing it. I don't know how I would really describe her sound. It's pop, but she's
with the X?
Yes, with the X, yeah. And she's just like funny. She's just like, she loves to like throw in like a funny concept or a funny lyric, and I just always appreciate that because it's so hard to pull off humor in music well, and yet it's like all the best artists do that. So and then also Too Easy by Tinashe. I gotta throw some love for my girl Tinashe. That song is like hopefully gonna be the next stage in her career, because that song needs some love and attention.
Thank you for the Rex.
Absolutely. That's all we do here on Main Pod Girl. So speaking of Rex, before I get into questions, I want to play a little game first called Firsts and Favorites. I wish I could find a way to explain how this played, but the title really kind of says it all. We're going to poke at your music taste through your firsts and your favorites. So the first question I have for you is the first artist that inspired you to make music.
Ooh, that inspired me to make music? That's a good question. I don't fully know the answer to that. It was random stuff at different times because I have inspirations that really made me want to become a vocalist, like a singer, and then people that I was like, oh, this person's an amazing writer, or at the other part of it, oh, I didn't know production was a thing. Like, this is so cool. David Foster was the first time I heard of a producer. Listening to Celine Dion, who I loved listening to. So like Celine Dion and Whitney Houston were the people that inspired me to become a vocalist. Yeah, David Foster. I was like, that's a thing people do, is they put songs together. I was like, that's so cool.
Then your favorite artist at the moment?
Ooh, favorite artist at the moment. Good
yeah, like
question.
this month, like who's at the top of the Debbii Dawson charts?
Let's see. I am listening to a lot of city pop. Their stuff is older, but I think a lot of people are kind of getting into digging into a city pop hole right now, so they're touring again. So I just saw Masayoshi Takanaka play here in LA. It was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. It was one of the coolest shows I've ever been to.
I always find it really fun when you get to see an artist that you had kind of accepted because
just of like their time in music. Like you kind of accepted you would have never seen them in concert, and then suddenly you get to see them in concert, and it's
What a
really beautiful.
privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a concert. Jonathan Edwards, who's one of my favorite artists, he's like a one-hit wonder from the 70s. But I went to one of his concerts, and there, like everyone there was 60 years old or older, and I remember going up to him and I went, I know that I'm like the youngest person here by at least 35 years, but I promise you I'm a bigger fan than anyone else in this room.
Oh.
It was
That must
really
be so
sweet.
cool to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of well, I don't know how he took it. He seemed to really appreciate it, but I'm always like really frazzled after a gig when people are talking to me, so I never it's hard to process things,
Yeah.
in
That's like
that moment.
opposite at my shows. It's
Really?
like I'll have like old people come up to me. Well, I did a couple of tours where the audience was younger.
Hmm.
Or I did one where they were like young girls, like 14, 15, like teenage, college age, up that kind of range.
Yeah.
And like some of if they're younger, they'll like their dads will bring them, and so they like I think they weren't they are not expecting to hear music maybe they might be into. So I
Right.
like at the beginning of the set seeing them in the audience kind of like arms crossed, like being in chaperone mode. And then like by like the third song in, they kind of just like bopping.
I love that. You're
Yeah.
converting people in real time.
Yeah, so like I like to see what song I can win them over by the dads.
Oh my gosh, I love that. The next one is first album that you bought.
Oh, first album I bought.
Doesn't have to be with your own money.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I've ever bought an album. I feel like by the time I was old enough, streaming was a thing, and then I just bought it.
I think we're the same age. I think, yeah.
Yeah, but an album I had on rotation that I was like that I wore out until it was all scratched up, like on a CD during those olden days, was again Celine Dion. Let's talk about love.
I love that. I
And
love that.
and I had like a VeggieTales CD.
A VeggieTales CD. So
Yeah.
it's the VeggieTales,
Yeah.
and Celine Dion.
Yeah.
And then your favorite album of all time.
I feel like I have eras in life where I'll really listen to something,
Hmm.
and then the next one I'll really listen to something. I don't know if I go back a whole bunch. But well, I guess had a big film score
Hmm.
stage, and I don't know if that counts. But
That
like
counts.
I go back a lot to like Hans Zimmer and like Ennio Morricone stuff. I used to listen to the Gladiator soundtrack every night before bed.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, funny enough, I first heard about your music through posts about your music gaining traction on Popheads. And so I had no idea that other people heard you first through your time on America's Got Talent. And I was surprised how that viral cover of Dancing Queen really puts your original music into perspective, because I had heard it the other way around, right? Like I was really into like the EPs, and then I was like, oh, like this is kind of interesting. And I think it just like unlocked something, because I feel like you can always understand a lot about an artist through how they approach a cover song. It's like having a familiar light shining through like a prism of this artist, and you get to see it bend in real time to create like that rainbow.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that sounds corny, but
Well, that's
something
so
just kind of like
interesting.
clicked for me.
I'm a corny girl.
I did go down a rabbit hole of your covers after that, and I will say that I'm obsessed with the Hopelessly Devoted to You cover. Is there a chance that you'd release one of these covers to DSPs, or tack it onto an EP one day?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I love other people's songs.
Mm.
People are so talented. Maybe. That'd be really cool.
When coming out with your like original music, I'm sure that it's part of the fun is writing the song itself, but then with a cover song, it's like a different, at
Yeah.
least for me, it's like a different part of the brain where it feels like you're writing the song by rewriting the song. Like,
Yeah, I love it. Exactly. Like when I'm like writing my own songs, it does feel like, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but there is that restriction almost where I'm introducing this brand new thing to someone.
Mm.
But with a cover song, it's like you already have this idea of this in your head. So with that idea in your head, I have the opportunity now to tear it apart and rebuild it completely. And it is a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah, when I first started writing music, I would do this thing where I would take songs that already existed and I would rewrite them the way that I would do them. So I would
Yeah.
change the chords, I'd change little parts of the melody or the harmony, and I just
Yeah.
felt like I was like, if I came out with this song, this is how I would do it. Which is so bold because they were like #1 songs. When listening to this new EP, I have to say, I think this is your best work. Like, it feels like the tightest songwriting and the slickest production in your discography, and the vision of like who Debbii Dawson is, I think, comes into full focus here, especially with songs like Kool-Aid, which is my favorite song of yours, and Lay It All Down. Did you have a similar feeling when you made this EP?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. That's
Of
such a
course.
big compliment and very validating. I mean, I always hope that I'm like beating stuff that I've done before and, pushing things forward. And so that's the hope when I go in to create stuff, or that's the goal at least. So that makes me happy to hear.
So it's more of like, if I'm reading this correctly, like you wanted to feel like that was the feeling of like you're coming into full focus, but ultimately it's up to the listener.
So I was on AGT, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was like my first time, besides doing a few like covers on social media, kind of stepping out and doing something with music. And I was on the show and people were kind of like, who is this person? Where did she come from? She kind of like randomly popped up out of nowhere, which was kind of what happened. So I wanted to put music out. When the first 2 projects, I kind of wanted to explain why I had just popped up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of projects are from the perspective of a recluse, and kind of really introspective, like digging deep into that. And so with the newer stuff, now that I'm working on my mental health, and starting to step out more into the world, I explained how I'd been spending my time. Now I want people to get to know me as a person, and so I've been writing like a bigger project. So I paused that to write about things that were really bothering me and taking up a lot of space in my mind and in my heart. Just things going on in the world. Like, I couldn't go and write about like going out and having fun for the first time when there's like atrocities happen when I turn on the news, So I mean, with this EP, I hope people I put it in a very pop pill form, but these songs touch on things that I believe in, and like
I mean, the lead single mentions genocide, so
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, I know it's writing like that song specifically is like, I don't know if like, because I want to talk about real things, and things that are important and things I think we shouldn't keep apart from mainstream music. I was trying to find a way for in writing these songs to talk about really heavy subjects, but I want people in like mainstream spaces to get comfortable talking and listening to like heavy subjects. I feel like sometimes they're put inside conversations like, here's a great pop song, and on the side, hey, this thing's like terrible thing is going on.
Yeah.
Which is
But you're kind of Trojan horsing it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I'm like trying to figure out a way to say it. Yeah, I think
I like the pop pill. You said pop pill package or something?
like pop in a pill form. I don't know.
I love that. No, I really do. I think that was a very visual like way to say it. But yeah, I fully agree. It's like it is tough right now as a songwriter to not be writing about these things, but it's also tough to always be focused on these things too.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a beautiful way to strike a balance.
Also value escape. You know,
Yes.
I think we do need escape and joy and
Hmm.
dancing and laughing. You know.
Yeah. And in that song that we talked about, Where Have All the Good Men Gone, is that based on the lyric from Holding Out for a Hero?
No,
Oh, okay.
I wanted to write a song about there's like no good people left on Earth, and I was trying to do like where have all the good people gone? Because like let's
Yeah.
keep it like neutral, but it just didn't sing as well as Good Men.
That's, yeah, I get that. And so we're recording before this EP comes out, but this episode will come out after the EP is released. So I'm curious which unreleased song you're most excited for fans to hear.
Ooh, maybe Money.
Have you performed that on tour
Mm-mm.
before? Okay, because I was gonna say I feel like after performing some of these songs on tour, like, were you nervous that the recorded versions would differ from people's expectations of the song, or like on the other hand, do you believe that the recorded version should be distinctly different from the live version?
Oh, oh right. Oh, I'm excited about Mars too. I forgot about Mars. I did perform Mars live on tour. Yeah, that's always a fear, especially with Mars because I recorded that so fast. I wrote the song, and I was like that week I was like I love this song, and so we like kind of rushed to finish it before I had to leave on to go on tour. But yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear it. But yeah, that can be a worry for sure, especially after living with the song for a while. I might start performing it differently or approaching it differently, like the vocal. Like a year later, I'm like, dang it, I wish I waited and and now I can sing it like this, or I should have added this part, or this change is so great, you know?
I wonder if there's like a world in which, you know how like people are releasing like re-recorded versions and people are releasing different, like all different sorts of remixes when a song blows up. Like, I want a version where we're just gonna update the ad libs and we're just gonna like, or make it like the live style, but like it's still recorded. Like, I love that idea that a song that like really kind of never expires, and there are always ways to update it and tweak it. And I get that way too with like my own songs where I'm like, oh shit, like I really wish that I had thought of this harmony or this run when I was recording it.
Totally.
So I guess not out of the question. And another thing that totally makes sense to me about you as an artist is that you produce your own music. 'Cause like as an artist myself, learning how to produce was like learning how to drive a car, right? Like it was like, it gave me a sense of independence, and like I could explore my art without other people present in like a much more vast way. It's like putting a puzzle together, but it's like a 3D puzzle now. And female producers are so underrepresented in the scene. And a lot of that is, you know, women will be producing. They could do everything that a man does in the room and not be considered a producer because they weren't specifically like engineering. They weren't touching the keyboard. But when men do that, they get asked for producer credits. So with that in mind, was learning how to produce important to you beyond the reasons that it would have been for me?
Totally. I stumbled into production on accident. Like I said, like I found out it was a thing when I was like 10 years old and found out about David Foster producing Celine Dion's album. But I grew up thinking that I needed to read music to be able to do it. And I found a computer, or I was given a computer that had Logic on it already. And so I accidentally started doing it, but that was like my whole world opened up. I was like, wow, I can put everything that's in my head down. Because for me, I think something that I'm working on that I have a difficult time with is communicating just the entire world, you know, that you're hearing and seeing. And I'm like, I have a tool to put everything down. I don't have to sing out this 6-piece string part. I can just do it myself.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was huge communication tool. And then, yeah, as a woman, it's so important. I've had, like, you know, weird instances. A lot of weird stuff that people don't believe. Like, I've literally had someone tell me, don't bother asking for production credit because no one's going to believe that you did it. um, yeah.
Please. Okay.
So it's a real issue, and
Yeah.
men and women have different hearing, and a lot of people don't know this. We have different hearing. Women are more sensitive to lower tones than men.
Mhm.
Men lose the higher tones. Women lose the lower the lower tones. Whatever. There's like a 2 decibel difference between men and women. Women have more sensitive hearing in general, so we're probably better listeners.
Yeah.
But it's just like
it's great to have both ears, if
both
anything.
ears.
Yeah.
I know. But it's just silly. The whole thing's silly. And yeah, I think it's literally silly to think that a woman can't be a producer. And I'm still learning and like don't know a lot. But yeah, I think if there's a woman out there listening, like you're totally capable
Yeah.
of turning on a computer and putting your ideas down.
Yeah, or even not turning on a computer, because one thing that like really opened up my eyes about production is that it is different from engineering. Like I remember working with this producer, and he was like this big hotshot producer that I had never worked with someone at that level before, and he didn't touch the keyboard or the dials once. Like he was. And so in my head, I thought, oh, they're both producers. And I was like, no, this is the producer and this is the engineer. And he was kind of like the one to be like, you know, it's about producing's about having the ideas. And I'm like, oh my God, there are so many like songs that I've been involved in that I had the ideas and I didn't think about myself as a producer. But if you're, you know, if you're not just going in and recording and you're saying, I want the strings to do this, like I want to include a bass line here, I think this should be brought up, like that's all production. And so I think there are a lot of people who, you know, get, I guess, negged into thinking that's not true. And so really quickly wrapping up, I just want to touch on this real quick. On Spotify, I noticed Max Martin is credited on I Want You. Is that a sample, or did you get the coveted co-write?
That was an accidental co-write.
An accidental co-write,
I was in
okay.
a session with Luca and Elvira and Rami. Luca and Elvira do Addison's stuff.
Yeah.
They're amazing. And so we were working on that song, and then Max came in to get like a synth from the room. And then he was like, oh, can I hear what you guys are working on? He's like, oh, this is good. And he came back later, and he's like, can I crash?
I love that.
Yeah, so that was
Oh,
an
wow.
accident.
I heard that he has some sort of like, it's expensive to have him on a song, but I guess because that was an accident, was that not an expensive song to put out?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Fair.
I don't answer the money questions.
Okay,
Someone else
okay.
does that. Someone else takes care of that stuff for me. I met him like 2 minutes into him chatting with me. He's like, I can tell you're really weird.
No,
How?
that would be such a compliment. I would be like,
Well, yeah.
yes.
He's like, I can tell you're really, really weird. I would just encourage you to keep leaning into it. And I was like, thank you.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's really nice.
I love that. No, because it's like, that means you have something to offer that's unique, you know?
Thank you.
Like that's, or at least that's how I take it. When someone calls me weird, I'm like, I used to hate that word when I was a kid, and now I'm like, oh, I should have like accepted it as the compliment it was, because
Yeah, it's a compliment.
all of the stuff that made me weird as a kid is all the stuff that I do now for a living.
You're special.
Yeah. And you are too. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is absolutely awesome, and it was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
If anyone who's listening to this isn't familiar with your music, which song on the new EP would you lead them to?
Ooh, maybe Mars.
Maybe Mars. Okay.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for joining me. Thank you to Noah for the theme music. And you know what? Special shout out to Chris for editing this episode, because he was sick and he still persevered, and I really appreciate that. And this podcast and all of us here at Popheads are in support of the fight for trans rights. Even if the U.S. Supreme Court isn't with us, it's more important than ever to stand up for trans people, because trans rights are human rights. It's as simple as that. You can check the links in the episode description if you're interested in donating or learning more.